Hello, my name is Maxim Yakovlev. I am director of the School for Policy Analysis at the National University of Kyiv-Mohyla Academy in Kyiv, Ukraine. And I'm proud and happy to host here and moderate a discussion between two great minds and thinkers of our time, Johnston Family Professor in Psychology at the Harvard University, Steven Pinker, and a historian professor in the Department of History at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, Yuval Harari. So my first question, just to kick off our discussion with a more provocative note, is about an optimistic and a pessimistic perspective of our future. So if I be very rude and place you both into two different camps, like an optimist and a pessimist regarding the future, I would like to hear your opinion, if you could really think of yourself as an optimist or pessimist about the future, and generally speaking, how do you perceive our future, I mean the future of humankind? Is it really an optimistic one or a pessimistic one?
I'm often pigeonholed as an optimist, although I have a paper trail of having a rather dark view of human nature in my book, The Blank Slate. I argue that there is such a thing as human nature and that it has some rather dark motives. But on the other hand, to counteract the accusation that I faced when writing The Blank Slate, that a belief in human nature leads to a fatalistic or dark view of the human condition, that there's no point in trying to reduce war and violence because it's in our genes, it's our evolutionary legacy. I pointed out that that human nature has many parts, that we do have some ugly motives like revenge and dominance and sadism, but we also have sympathy, we also have we're a cognitive creature. We have the ability to think up solutions to problems, to share them via language. And so what actually happens in human society depends on the balance between the better angels of our nature, as Abraham Lincoln called them, and our dark side. And that, as a matter of fact, there can't be a debate as to whether human nature condemns us to constant violence and war and prejudice, because the history tells us that there has been human improvement. And that led me to try to unearth data on human progress, the fact that our lifespans have more than doubled, that rates of death in war have come down, rates of death in homicide, violence against women, disease. Pointing out that we have made progress in the past, I don't really consider optimism. I just consider attention to data, to facts that many people are just unaware of. Many people are shocked to hear that rates of death in war have gone down over the last 75 years, or that lifespans have doubled, that famine is reduced, illiteracy is down. Now, whether that's cause for optimism in the future is impossible to say. No one is a prophet. That we're doomed, we're condemned, can be rejected, because we at least know that improvement is possible because it's taken place. Whether it will continue is a different question. Maybe things will get worse, but they won't necessarily get worse given that we know that we've solved problems in the past.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would largely agree that I think I can summarize the current human condition like in 3 brief sentences, that things for humans are better than ever, things are still quite bad, and things can get much, much worse. Now, whether that makes me an optimist or a pessimist, it's, I don't know, it's a mute question. I think we need to be realists. And what we can certainly agree about is that history is not deterministic, that there is no deterministic force which mandates that the future will be better or that it will be worse. It depends on the decisions and actions that we take in the coming years, in the coming decades. If we had this interview, this talk, I think 5 years ago, both of us, I guess, would be far more optimistic. Given the events of the last 3-4 years, we are a bit more pessimistic.
Or a bit more realistic.
Or a bit more realistic, yeah.